When the sun sets, it is time for your top stories. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. As usual, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, sports, and so much more. I am Glenora Shipura. Starting us off in the news tonight, nearly 800 residents have signed a petition calling on the Swakopmund municipality to cancel its planned New Year's Eve fireworks show, citing serious concerns over animal welfare, legal compliance, and public accountability. The protest, led by the Stop Fireworks Display group, created by Desiree Nell and reinforced by vocal community members, argues that the 10-minute midnight fireworks display, to cost about $100,000, scheduled for the 31st of December at Platz Amir Waterfront Mall, will cause unnecessary distress to pets, wildlife, children, and people with trauma-related conditions. The petition calls for a permanent ban on traditional fireworks, urging council to consider silent alternatives in line with global trends, such as, amongst others, a drone display. The space is shuttered every New Year's Eve, the petition reads, turning celebration into terror for animals and vulnerable individuals. It warns of panic in pets, escape attempts, injuries, and overstretched shelter resources, as well as environmental debris and unresolved risk for those with PTSD and sensory sensitivities. In a formal letter to the municipality, the Swakopmund Residents Association echoed the call for a suspension of the event. The association cited procedural irregularities, the absence of public consultation, a lack of budget provision in the 2025-2026 financial year, and possible breaches of the Local Authorities Act. According to the SRA, no risk assessment was conducted and no cost breakdown tabled prior to council approval. The association also suggested alternative locations, such as the shooting range outside town, and proposed laser light displays in place of fireworks. Despite the backlash, the municipality confirmed the event will proceed as planned. At a contact session on the 10th of November organized by the municipality, officials noted that the fireworks will be fired seaward from the breakwater area near Platz Amir, with all necessary precautions in place. It was also noted the display will last only 10 minutes, involve about 100-meter-high shells to reduce noise, and be launched by a licensed pyrotechnician. In our next story, only unemployed Namibians will be considered for polling official positions in the upcoming 2025 Regional Council and Local Authority elections, the Electoral Commission of Namibia announced this week. Speaking during an information session on Tuesday, ECN spokesperson David Siluka said the commission will not entertain applications from employed individuals. Only unemployed Namibians will be considered for these polling positions. We urge the public to report any employed individuals who are considered for these roles. Siluka emphasized his remarks come as the ECN finalizes preparations for the elections, with training for polling officials already underway and expected to conclude on the 15th of November 2025. Providing an update on the Commission's overall readiness, ECN Director of Operations Zenia Klassen said 98% of the pre-election phase had been completed since activities began in January this year. In terms of the pre-election phase, we have already completed 98%. Application and compliance with the legal framework is a continuous process that will continue until we conclude our electoral process in March 2026, Klassen explained. Klassen added that 20,209 polling officials have been appointed to serve at 2,895 polling teams covering 1,947 fixed and 948 mobile polling stations nationwide, an increase of 373 stations compared to the last presidential and National Assembly elections. She noted that the ECN has worked to address logistical challenges from previous elections, particularly those related to mobile polling stations, while still ensuring access for remote communities. Because of the vastness of our country, it is impossible to do away totally with mobile polling stations, Claassen said. Claassen further revealed that the training of returning officers and political party agents has been completed, while the ECN's ballot paper distribution and duplicate voter card issuance phases are set to begin later this month. The ECN also confirmed that the final voters register now stands at 1,499,449, with huge age 18 to 35 making up nearly 43% of registered voters. Special voting for police officers and election officials deployed outside their constituencies will take place on the 21st of November 2025, ahead of the main election days later this year. The High Court has ordered Anchor House Private Hospital, its medical staff, and the Ministry of Health to pay $1,877,038 million in compensation to a Katima Mulilo resident who lost his leg following a surgical procedure gone wrong. The man underwent a laparotomy at the private hospital in November 2020. However, due to arterial damage linked to the surgical procedure, he suffered restricted blood flow. This ultimately led to the amputation of his right leg above the knee. In the judgment, acting judge Collins Parker said the court found both the hospital and Dr. Kombo Bakashala listed as the second defendant liable for negligence and ruled that their actions directly resulted in the patient's injuries. The court found that the consequence of the second defendant's conduct was within the risk created by his incision method. Accordingly, the private hospital and the second defendant were liable. The judgment reads, additionally, Judge Parker read that the key issue was an abortive attempt by Bakashala to remove the patient's appendix through an incorrectly placed incision in the right groin inside of the abdomen. This surgical error led to right testicular atrophy and necessitated the above-knee amputation to save the patient's life. Legal findings confirmed that Bakashala's actions were the direct cause of the injuries and that both the doctor and the hospital breached their legal duty of care. Despite attempts by the defendants to dismiss the case early on, the court ruled that the evidence presented by the patient, represented by his lawyer, Prof. Sen Muluti, was strong and that the defense failed to overturn this. While the patient initially sought $9,531,200 in damages, the court awarded $1,877,038 for general and special damages. Red Force Debt Management has demanded a retraction, apology, and immediate cessation of what it calls defamatory and reckless remarks made by Urban and Rural Development Minister James Sankwasa, who allegedly claimed there was never a contract between the company and the Katima Mulilo Town Council. According to Red Force owner Selma Nangombe, the minister's public remarks have already led to tangible and dangerous consequences. Nangombe said that during the live broadcast in Katima Mulilo on Tuesday, the minister was seen brandishing a document described as an audit report and stated that it showed there was never a contract between Red Force and the Katima Mulilo Town Council. Even if the purported audit report were to contain such a conclusion, which is categorically denied, any such assertion would be demonstrably erroneous. As the current administrator of the Katima Mulilo Town Council, you enjoy the unrestricted access to the council's records, documents, personal and electronic data. The mere inability of your office at a given time to retrieve a physical copy of a contract cannot, by any reasonable standard, be equated with its non-existence, she wrote. She emphasized that Red Force operates a legitimate and duly authorized office in Katima Mulilo, employing local residents who perform their duties under lawful instruction and contractual mandate. That concludes the top stories. On the other side of these, we will be taking a look at what's headlining the story of the day.
Have you ever wondered why Grandma keeps her money under the mattress? And why is Angela uninsured? The Namibia Financial Inclusion Survey 2025 will help us find all the answers. From 6 October till the 4th of November 2025, the Namibia Statistics Agency teams in uniforms with tablets will visit homes across all 14 regions to learn about financial access, informal banking and saving habits. Email us at info@nsa.org.na or at 061 431 3200.
Getting into the story of the day, the just concluded MTC Windhoek Fashion Week proved to not just be a celebration of culture and fashion, but a reflection of collaboration and integration in Africa's fashion industry and arts landscape. The event featured designers from South Africa, Botswana, and Zambia, and models from Angola. Speaking during the second day of the event on Friday last week, Emmanuel Kayenda, the creative director of Botswana's Bato Fashion Week, expressed the importance of collaboration between African countries. The event, which concluded on Saturday, boasted 45 designers, including students from the College of the Arts and over 60 models. Let's have a look.
When we talk global connections, listen, NTV Africa meant what they said when they said borderless and boundless. We are here with Emmanuel, the director of Bato Fashion Week, all the way from Botswana. So talk to us about the collaboration between Bato Fashion Week and, of course, the MTC Windhoek Fashion Week.
The idea came after me and Luis, we used to be models in Cape Town so many years ago. So when he started this, of course, me, I started it later after him. So we're like, you know what? Our mandate or our goal is to help the fashion entrepreneurs commercialize their talent and monetize their skills. So why shouldn't we just join hands together? Because Botswana, Zambia, Namibia, and South Africa, including Angola, they're just in one border. You get what I mean? So that's how it came about. So what we do, we have signed an MOU that every year, during Bato Fashion Week in September, MTC Windhoek Fashion Week, they send talent to Botswana. They send designers, models as well. They've started coming on board as well. So we do the same thing. Coming November, we bring our designers here. It's the same thing that we have with South Africans, Durban Fashion Fair. It's the same thing that we have with the Lusaka July. So it's a collaboration, because at the end, we are doing the same thing for Africa.
We now get into our economic news, but first, a quick ad break.
Life is unpredictable, and one needs to be protected against any eventuality. Get Santam legal access from as little as 50 Namibian dollars a month for when you find yourself in need of legal representation due to civil cases, criminal prosecution, and family matters such as divorce, child maintenance, and custody. It also covers labor disputes, disciplinary hearings, and unfair dismissal or retrenchment. With Santam Legal Access, you'll receive free legal advice on almost every legal aspect, whether the specific matter is covered by your policy or not. For true peace of mind and legal protection when you need it most, call us on 061 292 8000. Santam. This is freedom.
Starting us off in economic news, despite their promise to boost food security and create jobs in rural areas, Namibia's green scheme agricultural projects are facing mounting challenges that threaten their very survival. Members of Parliament who visited the projects from the 11th to the 15th of August across Kavango East, Kavango West, and Zambezi regions raised alarm over outdated machinery, delayed payments, and high operational costs. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Natural Resources, responsible for oversight of agricultural development initiatives, conducted the week-long visit to assess the effectiveness of these multi-million-dollar projects. Their findings, presented during parliamentary sessions this week, painted a picture of both potential and frustration. On paper, the green schemes are a model for mechanized agriculture, job creation, and food security, said committee chairperson Dr. Toby Aupinti. But in practice, farmers face unnecessary bureaucratic obstacles that undermine progress. The MP's tour included visits to Dongalinena and Uvungu in Kavango East and Musese in Kavango West. At Dongalinena, they observed precision farming initiatives that have improved crop yields and efficiency. Farmers reported that access to mechanized plowing and irrigation systems has allowed them to harvest more within shorter periods. Musese was highlighted as a success story for small-scale farmers who benefit from mechanized support and employment opportunities. We will be taking a look at our international news shortly. Getting into our international news, Angola celebrated the 50th anniversary of its independence from Portugal on Tuesday with a military parade in Luanda. Soldiers, marching bands, and a tank paraded through the capital's Republic Square to mark the occasion before President João Lourenço addressed the nation from the stands of the Independence Memorial. "We've made a difficult journey in these 50 years, said Lourenço, citing political difficulties during the Cold War and overcoming Portuguese colonization. Angola declared independence from Portugal on the 11th of November 1975 at the end of a 13-year war, but the country quickly entered a devastating civil war that killed between 500,000 and 1 million people and ended only in 2002. Now, the president said his government will focus on building an inclusive society with equal opportunities for all citizens, while recognizing that Angola continues to face enormous and highly complex challenges after 50 years. Despite progress in infrastructure and urban development, oil-rich Angola remains plagued by economic and social inequalities. Issues related to poverty, unemployment, or access to education and healthcare remain. As of 2018, about a third of the Angolan population lived under the international poverty line of $2.15 a day, according to the World Bank. The same data found that about 16.5 million Angolans, or 52.9% of the population, lived on less than $3.65 per person per day, the international poverty line for lower middle-income countries. In his address, João Lourenço also cited the volatile situation in the African Sahel countries, the wars in Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo as issues that deserve our full attention. In our next story, approximately 35% of Mpox vaccines donated by Japan to combat a dangerous new outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo are being wasted due to stringent preparation requirements that leave doses unusable within hours. The head of the country's Mpox response has told Reuters. Congo's Mpox lead, Chris Kasita, reported that while over 500,000 people have been vaccinated, the loss rate for the Japanese LC16 vaccine is between 32 and 35%. "We're really doing everything we can to prevent loss," Kasita stated. The wastage occurs because each vial contains 250 powder doses that must be mixed before use and cannot be stored for more than a few hours once opened, meaning leftover vaccines is discarded if patient turnout is low. The LC16 vaccine made by KM Biologics is the only option approved for children and is being administered to those aged 1 and above. However, its technical complexity, requiring a specific needle and administration technique, compounds the storage challenges. Delivery is further hampered by the remote and politically unstable nature of some of the worst affected provinces, though officials say the vaccine has still been effective in curbing the outbreak in the capital, Kinshasa. That concludes our international news. We will be taking a look at the world of sports with Sports Wrap.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news and starting off with tennis news first. The ATP finals being played in Turin in Italy. Top 8 players in the men's ranking that play in this tournament. And it was an exciting match. That was between Carlos Alcaraz and Taylor Fritz of the USA. Carlos Alcaraz winning a thrilling match by 6-7, 7-5 and 6-3. This is also round-robin games, and for Carlos Alcaraz to qualify for the semi-finals, he needs to beat Lorenzo Musetti of Italy. That is on Thursday. Musetti got the better of Alex de Minaur of Australia in a very exciting game, 7-5, 3-6 and 7-5. On to golf news. It's the season-ending tournament on the European Tour. It's the Race to Dubai, that is on the DP World Tour. That's going to start on Thursday at the Jumeirah Golf Club, that is in Dubai. And exciting tournament, and the top 50 players playing that qualified on the points table on the order of merit. Some of the favourites for this tournament is world number 2, that is Rory McIlroy, and also Tommy Fleetwood. He's number 4 in the world at the moment. Then also players like Tyrrell Hatton and Victor Hovland. They're some of the early favourites. Also some South African players are playing in the top 50 that qualified. 4 of them will play. That is Tristan Lawrence, then also Jaden Schaefer, also Jacques Kruiswijk and Sean Norris. So those are the 4 representing Southern Africa in the Race to Dubai. Closing off today's international sports news, it's rugby news. It is Springbok lock Lotte Jager that was suspended for 4 weeks, and that's after receiving a red card. That was in the past weekend's game against France, and he will miss the rest of the tour for South Africa, unfortunately, because of the suspension. He will miss Saturday's game against Italy, also then the next Saturday against Ireland, and the last game on the tour will be against Wales. England also play a big game on Saturday, that is at Twickenham against the All Blacks, and it is team news from England is that George Ford has been selected to start in the fly-off position at number 10, and also injury returns for 2 players. It's Freddie Stewart that will start at 15, then Tom Roebuck, he's back at on the wing after recovering from an ankle injury. So that game is on Saturday. That's England against the All Blacks at Twickenham. So that is international sports news for today. I hope you have a great sport day. We talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
That was Ari Hochart with the sports news before the break. And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the Animage platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every Monday to Thursday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. From me, Glenora Shipura. Until next time.